Welcome in, everybody, to another edition of the Sick Podcast, Recruits Draftcast. We have a loaded show for you today. Lots happening in the world of hockey, from big trades to offer sheets to trade requests. We're going to cover all of that. And then the Habs released their draft documentary yesterday, so we're going to touch on that a little bit. And we're going to give you our prospect of the week and our Habs prospect of the week later on in the show. So without further ado, let's get started.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to the Sick Podcast. Recruits Draftcast.
With our first pick in the 2022 NHL Draft, les Canadiens de Montréal sont fiers de repêcher from the Slovakian national team and TPS Turku, Juraj Slafkovsky.
The sickest NHL draft and scouting podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Welcome, everyone. I am producer Shane. The man joining me, you know him, you love him. It's Grant McCagg. Grant, how are you today?
Hey, excellent. Thank you.
Love it.
Laine. Still pumped about Laine.
Yeah, it's been a busy week, but a fun one. Again, big moves in the middle of August. You just love to see it. And you know what? We'll get the 6'5" Finnish elephant. We'll address that right now. Patrik Laine is a Montreal Canadian. Look, we know this is a prospect show, right? We want to cover mostly, the future of the NHL, but this is just too big to pass up on. And Grant, you were, somewhat involved into this because you were one of the first people who vehemently pushed for the Habs to go target Patrik Laine. Once you heard that, his name was in circulation, he could be available, you were one of the first to say the Habs should be all over that. He fits perfectly. Now, you joined Tony Marinaro when it happened on Monday. To break it all down, and I think that show had over like 36,000 views. So if you're watching right now, you've probably seen it already, but doesn't matter. We'll revisit anyways. Grant, I mean, people looking at this trade, they see that, okay, Laine is a pure goal scorer, but you and I both know he's a whole lot more than that, right? He's got the hands, and to move the way he does at 6'5" is very impressive. So just overall, what are the Habs getting here?
Yeah, well, he gets pigeonholed as just a goal scorer only, but his last few years he's averaged, I think I was looking at it, something like 37 assists per 82 games. Yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood. So he's far from being just a goal scorer. He can make plays. He's a good playmaker. And he's going to get in what's going to be, for the first time in 30 years, a good dynamite top six in Montreal. I suspect he'll be on the first power play too. Mm-hmm. And it should be way better, especially if Hudson makes a team and he's running the show back there. He's got a lot of options with, Slafkovsky, Laine and Caulfield all have great one-timers. And Suzuki, he's got his spot there in the high slot that he scores from as well. Hudson's going to have a lot of options as far as setting up guys, and he's going to pick up a pile of assists, I think, if he ends up making the team and playing regularly, because the main reason why he'll make the team is to run that power play. Like that's what he's, that's why he's being fast tracked more than anything. They need as great a, defenseman as Mike Matheson is. Hudson's just a couple of tiers above him when it comes to seeing the ice and making plays. So, I just, it's funny that there's been a lot of talk like, I'd like to see him play with Doc and Slafkovsky.
1, 2, 3.
The size and draft pedigree with those three. And you need a good top six. You're not going to win with just stacking just one line. So I don't mind the idea of breaking up that trio that was so good last year in the second half, but you can keep them together, and you have a duo of Doc and Laine that could be very good together as well. Now, do you put them? I guess Joshua is going to be in tough. Looks like him and Newhook will probably be battling for that sixth slot, right, in the top six. But that's good that, you know, you don't want to be rushing your young players. And if Roz not ready, that's fine. Like if they didn't get Laine, they may have had Newhook and Roy in the top six. And I'm not sure, like that was a question mark. Now, you don't have a question mark with Laine. You know that he can play top six. He can play in your first line. You know, he can play anywhere in the top six. So Doc can play in the top six. He's going to be in the top six. So the less question marks that you have with your top six going into camp, the better. Brian Wild brought up a good point the other day on Tony's podcast, saying that Montreal's bottom three lines last year, and the second line in particular, they were like right at the bottom of the league when it came to production, goal scoring. So that needed to be addressed. And Doc coming back obviously helps, but they had to get somebody, and it turned out to be Laine. What I thought was interesting too is a day later or two, McGroarty gets traded. It makes you wonder if if the Canadians had been kicking the tires on him, and that there was possibly a deal there. And then when they ended up getting Laine, then Winnipeg turned around and, okay, well, we'll make this deal with Pittsburgh, because it happened pretty soon right after.
Yeah.
You know, those two have been, you know, they had all summer to trade the two of them, right? Both teams. And it happened, within a 24-hour span. So I think that Montreal was, those were the two guys that I thought that they would be best served to go after. And I think that ended up being the case, that they were looking seriously at both of those guys.
Right.
But I think they did their homework on Laine. It was nice to hear that they got him in, chatted with him, and felt comfortable with, he was giving the right answers. And I mean, I've been saying it. First article I wrote about it was in January that they should. So I wasn't one of the first ones. I was the first one to be
the first. That's it.
You don't have to. You're allowed to compliment. You're allowed to go all the way there.
Yeah.
I brought it up like months ago, like January. I wrote an article saying, "Hey, this is the guy that the Canadians need." They're just, they've been searching for a big goal scorer. They haven't had one since Richer or Kovalev, I guess, really. So go out and get one. And I mean, the price, geez, you end up getting a second round pick too, as much as I love George Harris. And I think he'll find this regular role in Columbus and become a good NHL defenseman. Just the future didn't look like it was going to be there for him in Montreal. There's just too many guys on the left side that bring extra dimensions that Jordan didn't bring, and there was just so much depth that he was expendable. As great a kid as he is, and as good young defenseman as he is, it's not going to hurt the Canadians down the line, because they have a ton of left defensemen.
That's it. I mean, listen, I got the pleasure to hang out a bit with Jordan this summer when in Vegas. He was a part of the Players Inclusivity Coalition. They were at a little YMCA with PK Subban, Georges Larac, right? And I got a chance to hang out with Jordan. He's a great guy, really great guy. I mean, wish him all the best. But like you said, when that's the price, and on top of that, you get a 2026 second round pick, you have to be all over that. I mean, that, and listen, I don't want to talk out of my ass here, but Columbus shouldn't be really good for the coming years. So that second round pick could easily be in the 40s. So you get a top 40 draft pick plus Laine for a defenseman who was likely on the outs.
Could be in the 30s.
Incredible, incredible asset management. Really, just unreal. Unreal. Yep. And I mean, before the trade happened, right? I like to doodle. That's what I do on my on my off time. I write trade proposals. You know, I try to predict some, and I actually did get Lecky for Barron. Okay, I did get that. That's the only one I've gotten though. But for Laine, I said I had said 2025 second, Harris and Meshar for Laine at 25% retention though. That's the kicker, right? If you're getting him at 100, then they pay you to take him on. Anyways, it was I was shocked when I saw that.
I had a look at all the forwards that made $8 to $9 million last year or making it this year, and Laine, like for his career per 82 games, has scored at a higher goal scoring rate than all of them, and was like top 3 or 4 in points per 82 games. So he, like the vast majority of them have scored at a lesser clip at fewer points per 82 games, and all of them fewer goals. So his salary is not like it. When you look at his point totals, his salary is right in line with what he should be making. So I don't think that it's he instantly becomes the best career goal and point producer on the Canadiens. So he's making more than the other guys because he's already proven it production wise. So I think that he can be I think that he can return to a 40 goal mark if he's healthy, and that's the key, right? But last year it wasn't it wasn't physical health that was the issue, it was mental health. And let's hope that he's got that all turned around. And I think he'll thrive in Montreal. I really do. I think that if he'd have gone to a really good team to start his career, he'd have had a fantastic career up until now. I believe that he thrives on a winning atmosphere, pressure. I don't think it bothers him. I think it motivates him. I think he got unmotivated to a certain degree playing in Columbus and with a poor team, and the last couple of years in Winnipeg. And let's hope that he's gone from being a young, immature player in Winnipeg and then the upheaval in Columbus. Now he joins a young team where he's going to be one of the veterans, and it'll be a different situation for him. A different mindset. And I think that he's matured, hopefully. And I believe, that year will help him, and good for him to seek the help. A lot of guys don't do it, they'll trudge through it and it will just get worse. But he realized that something needed to be done, and he admitted that he had a problem. And I think that's half the battle. So I expect him to bounce back with a really big year. First time that hit that one-timer top corner at the Bell Center, they're going to go wild and they'll fall in love and he'll be happy. And I think it'll just go like that for him. So I think it's a brilliant move by the Canadiens, and I think that they're playoff contenders all the way this year. I don't see how they're not going to be at the bottom of the league this year. It's just too much talent.
Yeah, no, that's it. If they can stay healthy, they're in the mix. They have to be in the mix. Now, there were some other moves that happened this week, but before we get to that, we have to give a big thank you to one of our sponsors, Manta Sleeping Masks. we are very excited to tell you about Manta Sleeping Mask, the only mask designed and optimized for deepest possible sleep in any environment. 100% blackout for deeper sleep. Infinitely adjustable for personalized fit, absolute comfort. Visit mantasleep.ca and use code SICKDRAFT for 10% off. And funny enough, Grant, you were taking a nap when Laine got traded.
I was.
You were using the Manta Sleeping Mask when Laine got traded. So
middle of the day.
If you buy one and wear one, hey, who knows? There might be another trade coming. I don't know.
I can't believe it. Some of the biggest moves, I can't remember exactly, but it was another Canadian big news. I was having a nap, so
was it Subban Weber?
Other than the Laine trade, the second last one or whatever, last time there was a big breaking deal, I was napping too. So I'm making a point of having afternoon naps as often as I can here now. So
that's awesome. Hoping for more trades. Well, you mentioned it already, but Rutger McGroarty, who had previously requested a trade from the Winnipeg Jets, is now a member of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And the trade was 1-for-1 in exchange for Brayden-Yager, both 14th overall picks. Pretty funny that. But listen, I mean, for Winnipeg, right, they were put in an awkward situation. And we still don't really know why he requested the trade. I think what came out is that he said it just didn't feel right, which is, I don't know, that's odd to me. Like, what doesn't feel right? You're in the NHL. But anyways, we don't know the whole story. The deal's done. He's a member of the Penguins now. He gets to play with Crosby. But Grant, what'd you think of that whole ordeal?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, like, good riddance, you know. If you don't want to play, you don't want to play in Canada or Winnipeg. That's like, let's be honest, that's what it was, right? What if he didn't come up with anything else? That's what it was. So fine, you know.
Yeah.
Hang out with Trump and the boys there and have fun in Pittsburgh, you know, whatever. Good riddance. Bye. I just, these Americans that, you know, oh, I don't want to play in Canada. Yeah, well, don't play in Canada then. You know, I think maybe they should ask him that question then at the draft interview. You know, you got any issues with playing in Canada, Winnipeg? Maybe they didn't ask him that. They should have on draft day. But he's supposed to be a character kid and all that, but he's American character. You know, some of those guys, I don't know what it is. Like, they've got in it, just like NBA guys that don't want to come and play with the Raptors, you know, for whatever reasons. They think that not having to go through customs all the time, or who knows, but, you know, what else could it be? I can't see it being anything else other than that. Winnipeg's got a decent team. Yeah. Didn't want to play in Winnipeg. Like, Winnipeg's got this reputation for being coldest and whatever, hinterland, the middle of nowhere. But I think it's a great city. And I think it gets a bad rap that way. And I see a lot of people, like, it's funny, like the trade gets it seems like, oh, great deal for Pittsburgh. That's what you keep reading, because just like every other, if you have a good World Junior, they think you're a star. And, you know, you can go back through time with guys that had great World Juniors that don't become great NHL players. It's totally different hockey. It's not the same hockey, you know. Yeah, McGroarty had success, or more success, than Yager at World Junior, so he's in the spotlight more. And also, if you have a really good college year, that seems to get you know, people are underestimating just how good a year Yager had. Yager had a fantastic year. He led his team
Mem Cup
to the Memorial Cup. First line center, 95 points. Great playoff. Like, I think that they did really well. They got a player who was picked at the exact same spot in the draft.
Yep.
Saskatoon boy who's going to have zero issues with playing in Winnipeg. In fact, I'm sure his family will be ecstatic. They, you know, make the tour from Saskatoon to Winnipeg, maybe move to Winnipeg. from Saskatoon if they're all still there. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, he'll be close for the family. They'll go to games all the time. So he'll love being in Winnipeg. He'll have no issues with that. He won't have to say, oh, I bet you he shows up at rookie camp. He doesn't say, no, this just doesn't feel right to trade me. That's not going to happen with Yager, right?
Yeah.
But he was great at the Holloway a couple of years ago. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
He had a fantastic Holloway last year or 2 years ago, and 2 Holloway's ago, I guess it was now. But he's a character kid. Skates better than McGroarty. McGroarty's bigger, plays with a little more grit, sandpaper, but not a great skater. That was the knock about him. And there's still you still a little bit of question mark about just how well he'll adapt to the speed of the NHL game. Yager doesn't have that, there's no knock on his skating. He's really skilled, little smaller, but hey, good for Winnipeg getting equal value or damn close to it in Yager. And I'm just glad that they were able to get a fair deal for him when it was all said and done. And McGroarty, well, he can go to Pittsburgh and, he'll be happier there, I guess. Where's he from? Nebraska? Which again, Midwest, Winnipeg's Midwest. I was a little surprised that he wouldn't want to go to Winnipeg, but hey, I guess it probably comes down to wanting to be in the States, and that's fine. And hopefully they both have good careers. And McGroarty was always, I think he was captain of the under-18 team, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So he's known as a good team player and stuff. So it always did surprise me when he made that trade request, because he's seemingly got good character, but there's something there. And I think it was the not wanting to play in Canada thing, which always kind of, I don't know, perturbs me a bit. I don't know if you could tell, but
he hit a string there. He definitely hit a nerve, but I agree with you. I mean, it's puzzling, right? And we saw it with Cutter Gauthier just last year. Again, a player who hadn't played a single game in the NHL, already requesting a trade. Again, I want to give the players benefit of the doubt, right? We definitely don't know everything, right? There's definitely factors that we're never going to find out, but it's still weird. It's still strange that, you haven't played a game and you're already requesting a trade. I don't know. Those are always puzzling to me. But
he's afraid. Yeah, maybe he hates zoos, and Winnipeg's got a real rockin' zoo there, and he wanted to be as far away from a zoo as possible. Who knows? But yeah, no.
It's at the end of the day, it seems like a win-win for everyone, right? Winnipeg gets a great player in Yager. Rutgers happy going into the States. Pittsburgh's getting a good player in Rutgers. So I think it all worked out fine for everyone, but it's still an odd situation. Let's put it that way. Speaking of odd situations, this is something that I wish would happen more often, and that's offer sheets. We don't get enough offer sheets, and this year we did. We got 2, actually, both coming from the St. Louis Blues, who poached Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg from the Edmonton Oilers using the offer sheets. I love this. I love this a lot, and the Oilers didn't match, so that's it. Goodbye. It's done. Successful 2 successful offer sheets. Good stuff there. I love it.
I was, when Ceci got traded, I thought, okay, well, they're
They traded him for nothing.
For no reason. They're keeping Broberg. They're going to match Broberg, but then they didn't. But I do like Ty Emerson, though. I think Emerson, and I'm not a big Ceci fan, so
no, that's it.
As it turned out, it ended up being a hockey trade, right? It wasn't. it wasn't after all just to clear cap space
Smokescreen
to match these guys. And I guess they're comfortable with Desharnais. They think that he can be, maybe replace CC as a kind of a penalty killer type role and stuff. But St. Louis.
Sorry. Darren is with the Canucks now, so he's gone.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought I remembered that, but I just Googled it now, and yeah, he is with the Canucks.
Okay.
I did forget
I missed that one.
Yeah.
Well, there's certainly going to be turnover on the fence there in Edmonton, but hey, that's been an Achilles heel, and they have to keep molding it. Emerson is a good young player, and obviously they like them a lot, and he may end up being better than CC next year, which isn't that's not the highest bar to clear. I don't know, like CC, ever since he came into the league, just has gotten a top 4 role every step along the way, and it's always been a bit puzzling. But in a third pairing role, limited role, I think he could be effective, but he always seems to end up playing 20 plus minutes in big roles, and I don't know that that's really ever, if that's what he should be. I think he should be a third pairing guy that can kill, second unit penalty kill, third pairing. I think he can be fine, but maybe in San Jose he'll find, he'll end up being top 4 again, probably, like it just, the band plays on. But I mean, I wonder, Bergie was looking at that and saying, geez, why didn't I, give an offer sheet to Aho and Netcash at the same time, or something more creative that may, that would have really put Carolina in a bind. But and I mean, Bergie should have offered more than he did for Aho. All it ended up doing basically was, losing Kotkaniemi because of it. Basically, was the turnout. But good for. I've had to keep amending my under 25 depth chart that I've done of all 32 teams. In the last week, it just took a shit kicking, as I guess I'm allowed to say that, right? The Harris going, Harris now Columbus, McGroarty and Broberg I had to take him off of. I moved Edmonton down 2 or 3 spots because they lost 2 of their top under 25 prospects.
Yeah.
In Broberg and Holloway. Mm-hmm. And then St. Louis moved up a couple spots. And then now this other one, McGroarty and Yager flipping teams. So I've had to rewrite some of my which is coming out next week, by the way. I'm releasing it my over 4 days, the depth chart for the 32 teams. But I've had to do a bunch of rewriting and ranking this week, thanks to all these deals with under 25 players.
Might not be done too. You got Yaroslav Askarov out of the Nashville Predators who asked for a trade. That's not been done yet. So hold off on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, that's it. So I'm loving this drama, this kind of action. I hope teams utilize the offer sheet tool more often. I feel like it's been underutilized because you don't want to overstep. You don't want to piss off anybody. No, it's in the rules. It's legal. Do it.
Armstrong would have if
his grandma.
Eh?
Yeah, I would have done it if my grandma were the GM. That's
even
awesome.
If didn't care though. If it would have been grandma that was coach or GM of the Oilers, he'd have done the offer sheet. I like that. So I think the fact that they've been successful now, you're probably gonna see it more often. And Armstrong's not really getting a lot of heat from it either, really. you know. And you haven't heard, have the Oilers whined about it?
Well, they are to blame. Like if there's anybody to point fingers at, it's themselves. If you
Yeah.
wanted to keep them, you should have signed them before. Hello. So
Yeah. No, I
they
think
can't complain.
I think that the whole uproar over offer sheets is kind of looks like it's dissipated a bit, and we might start seeing it a little more often, and I hope so.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it makes an often uneventful summer more eventful. So I don't have an issue with that.
Exactly. Well, I think we've covered about everything that happened this week. We'll see what happens next week, but we're going to get back to the draft now, the regularly scheduled program. But before we do, I want to tell you all about our good friends at Insta Customs. Insta Customs are proud supporters of Recruits and the Sick Podcast, Recruits Draftcast, the highest rated apparel print shop in Canada at 4.9 Google stars, specializing in direct-to-garment printing and embroidery. They're located just minutes away from the Bell Center on Rue Stanley in Montreal. Please visit their website at instacustoms.com. All right. Yesterday, the Montreal Canadiens released on their YouTube channel their annual draft documentary that they kind of do, covering, the combine and what happens, on the draft floor. It's always fascinating to see these behind the scenes things. And this was no different. I really, really enjoyed this. Few things that stood out to me. Biggest one was that there were trade options for the number 5 pick and the number 21. We actually heard Kent say that if Demidov was not available at number 5, he was seriously considering trading that pick. We don't know to who, but for unprotected first and second in 2025. So that's huge. That is huge. What did you like about the documentary, Grant?
Well, no mention of unicorns. I thought that was a step in the right direction. It was it. Ben Choutron seems to be getting more of I think he's moving up the scouting ladder. I noticed him. He was in on all of the interviews, and he hasn't been around as long as some of the scouts. So it's interesting to see how, I keep an eye on stuff like that. Oh, Ben seems to be moving up in the pecking order there. It wasn't long ago he was just a part-time Ontario scout, but I guess he's doing a good job. But I mean, when they, we do. I mean, I do it all the time, and I think it's a great way to rank guys as to do similar players do comps on them and see, but what bothered me was that they when they said, we're going to do comps, and then all we heard was the Demidov part of it. Who was the other guy? Who are they comparing him to? And then when they mentioned the part about playing center for 5 games, I didn't know if they were talking about the other guy at that point or Demidov. They didn't really, because at one point they did mention whoever the other guy was about goal scorer, score a goal. Like there was one short mention, but they didn't say who the player was.
Probably Lindstrom.
They're
talking about a center.
Ginla. I'm thinking it was a Ginla, but it could have been Lindstrom too. It was one of the two.
Yeah,
that they did that player comp with. But I went back and looked at who played 5 games at center that normally doesn't, and I went through Instat, and neither of them played 5 straight games at center. They played 3, both Iginla and Demidov had a stretch, and it was Iginla the first 3 games of the regular season he played center, but they must have been talking about Demidov. He had a 3-game stretch where he played, where he took 19, 17, and 15 faceoffs, so he was at center. And then the next 2 games, he took like 4 and 3. So I guess they were saying that those were the 5 games where he played center, where really it was only 3 straight ones that he played center. So they were referring to Demidov with that, but also interesting that, if need be, maybe they look at Demidov being a center too. So it's nice to have that option, right? Dubois was a winger in junior, and Columbus made him a center. There've been recent. Gauthier was a winger for most of his draft year and became a center. There's other guys that recently have. I had it on the tip of my tongue, but I forget right now. There's another recent example of it. Mm-hmm. Winger, he ends up playing center. So, hey, I don't think that they need another center. I think they're stacked with centers down the road, unless they think that Doc ultimately just will never be a 50% face-off man and he's best suited to be on the wing. But, with Hage coming and, they drafted Beck and Koivu and Kapanen. They're pretty stacked down the middle, but hey, you want the best 2 centers playing in the top 2 lines, and if ultimately Demidov ends up being, a better center than all those guys, then he could play center. So that's interesting, but yeah, it was nothing shocking. They didn't really reveal a heck of a lot other than what I found interesting was, and it just goes to show, and it didn't surprise me, but they obviously had Koivu and Sawyer ranked probably top 40, and Canine.
Yeah,
they might have had him. They may have had him ranked top 70, and he went 210. What was interesting was that little bit that they did, and they basically said he's not far off of Sawyer, but then they picked 4 or 5 guys before they picked Canine. So I think what that tells you is that and it was likely Bobrov. He's the librarian, right, of the group. He would have done a lot of sleuthing on that to see if, I don't think any other team's going to take him. So we won't, even though we've got him ranked higher than Merrill and Thorpe, maybe even Thorpe and a couple other guys. Let's just, I think we can get him in the 7th round. And as it turned out, a guy that they, from the sounds of things, had probably in their top 70, they got at 210, which is always nice that you can, he might have been their top 60 too. But it just goes to show you just how different NHL lists are. There'll be guys in an NHL team's top 70 rankings that don't even get drafted. It's amazing. Every list is so different. And for all you amateur guys out there that do your lists and get a little upset, oh geez, my 60th ranked guy never even got picked. Well, odds are that there were 5-10 teams that had him ranked, but they just run out of players. The NHL teams invariably don't rank more than 100 players because there's always there'll be a handful of guys on their list that don't even get picked. So why rank, you see some scouting, we ranked 300 players or we ranked 200, like, don't waste your time, guys. Ranked 100, 150, plenty, because there'll be a pile of them that don't get picked and you'll just end up being discouraged by it. But anyway, there's my words of advice to young scouts out there.
Yeah, that's good. And I mean, in the documentary, we also, or the video, whatever you want to call it, we also saw the infamous psychiatrist. He's back. This time didn't ask about the lady getting cut in line or whatever. Hopefully he changed his questions a bit, but from what we saw, I mean, he just asked, Michael Hage about how he bounced back from, that tragic loss and all that, which again, a bit of a basic question, but we're not psychiatrists. We don't know what he's doing, what kind of work he does. He must be useful because they bring him back, but yeah.
Well, glad to know that they wait till by the looks of things, they wait till the end to have the psychiatrist. So the player's not all flustered, like Rob said, like, friendly at the start and make them feel at ease. Certainly if they'd start off with the psychiatrist, they wouldn't feel at ease. What kind of a player, what kind of an animal are you? First question, like they wait till the end for him to do his magic there. But I also like that, they traded up, and I figured to get with the hopes that maybe they get Hage, but then Bob Rob said, 20%, 1 in 5 chance that he'll still be there. So they obviously came away from the draft quite happy with how things turned out. They didn't think Demidov would be there. They didn't think Hage would be there, but they were, and they were happy. Also, the little part about what Marty said about, well, there's a group of big kind of, physical guys that if Hage isn't there at 21, that we'd still like. And as I suspected, I believe particularly Cole Baudouin would have been somebody that they targeted, that, as a backup. Hey, we'd pick him at 25. And if we move up to 21 and Hage is gone, well, we pick him at 21. We still like the kid. He's got the character, the size, he brought a lot of elements that Montreal could use in their bottom six. And I had a feeling that Marty especially would like that type of player. And I think he was a guy that was on the radar based on that, watching that video. And Letourneau too.
Friend of the show. Yep.
Yeah. Were you just going to say it?
Exactly. I was going to say maybe even Dean,
Yeah. But, I think they liked him. It certainly was a hot rumor at the combine.
That's it. Hard not to like a 6'7" center, but hey, you know what? If the Habs had stayed at 25, he wouldn't have been there anyway. So I know
a lot of Habs fans that didn't like Mike McCarron. So yeah, not that hard to dislike a 6'7" center. But anyway, yeah.
All right, we're gonna get to our prospects of the week in just a moment. But before we do, we have to give a big thank you to Cheapest T-shirts, cheapest rock bottom apparel, wholesale prices in all of Canada. T-shirts at $247, hoodies at $13.95, crew necks at $7.83, and much more. 36 different clothing brands and over 600 different products. No minimum order required to get the cheapest prices. Order today, ship today, get it tomorrow. Why are you paying more for nothing? Head on over to cheapesttshirts.ca. All right. We got 2 prospects we want to highlight today. First one is our prospect of the week. Last week we did a sleeper. This guy's just the prospect of the week. And we're going over to Russia, and we're going to take a look at Mr. Ivan Ryabkin. Roll the tape.
Yeah. This came up on Instat late last night. That's a dandy. He's playing in the KHL exhibition season for Moscow Dynamo. Unfortunately, the game where he had a goal and an assist hasn't come up, and it was before this game. So, there he just set up a goal. So he had an assist in this game, 2 points the game before. So in 2 KHL games so far, this week he had a goal and 2 assists. Now, for a 17-year-old, I don't care if it's exhibition game season or not. That's impressive. Yep. And it's also, this is against SKA, so the defending champs. So, but you'll notice there he had a little scrum after the whistle. Now he's got grit. This kid, he's 17 years old. Mm-hmm. And there he just hit just he had about 6 hits in this game. So the fact that last year as a 16-year-old, he was 6th in league scoring, only 2 points behind Demidov as a 16-year-old. So lots of skill. He plays a bit of a physical style. I would say he's a bit of a cross, really, between Surin and Demidov. Now, he's not as skilled as Demidov. Nobody, who is, but, and he's not quite as gritty as Surin. But again, few are, especially in Russia. But I'd say like he's a little grittier than Demidov and a bit more skilled than Surin. So you're looking at something, bit of a cross. There he is, another, this is him as 17-year-old playing against the KHL champs. And he's not afraid at all. He's got a physical edge to his game. But what really impressed me was that he played third-line center role in this game. There was a great play at the blue line to keep it onside. He's very poised with the puck for his age. He's there's another hit. I really like the physical aspects of his game, but he's already well-rounded. I think he plays in the KHL this year because of that. Here he is he was on the first power play unit and on defense running things. Quarterback in the first power play unit on defense as a 17-year-old. So he played a third line center role, which was, and paid attention to details defensively, got back checked hard. There's a nice back pass. You can see that he's got really good on ice awareness. So good passer, decent skater, plays hard away from the puck. He anticipates the play well. Here he is playing back on the point again on the power play. Made some nice moves. But again, not as skilled. Demidov would have went through the whole team there. So he's not as skilled as Demidov, but I really do like his overall game. Now, add in the fact that he's, the point totals that he put up as a 16-year-old in the MHL is crazy. That he can play the wing, he can play center. He's already decent defensively. This guy's a top 10.
Yeah.
He looks like a top 10 lock for me. He's the top Russian prospect this year. His name's Ivan. So, who knows? Maybe if the Canadians end up drafting, I don't know, 8th overall and Ivan's on the board, maybe we got double Ivan coming at you in a year or two from Russia. So
that'd be something.
Yeah, well, he's in the mix for the top 5 for the draft. He's highly regarded, and as you can see they're just well-rounded. I was surprised I was surprised with Surin last year. Maybe there's a new breed coming out of Russia here. The skilled centerman that plays gritty, very gritty. Yeah. I mean, there have been ones in the past, but normally it's more, if they're high scoring, they don't play a physical game as a rule. He does. He's well-rounded, plays hard. So well-rounded Russian prospect with versatility that's right in that mix, I think, with Spence and Porter Martone, Roger McQueen. There's a group of them there that all play a two-way game that are pretty safe picks. And it's shaping up early on here. Like there's going to be a bunch of guys picked in the top 12 that coaches are going to like because they play responsible two-way game. And he's one of them.
That's it. Absolutely. That's an exciting profile right there. Ivan Ryabkin is our prospect of the week. And now moving on to another Ivan, of course, I think you guessed it, Habs prospect of the week. There aren't many playing, but you know what? He's still doing his thing. It's Ivan Demidov. Roll the tape.
He's playing in the Puchkov tournament right now. He's got Sochi, Ska, and the Russia U23 team. Now it's funny that he's not playing for Ska, he's playing for the Russia U23 team. But here he is making a beautiful pass. He had 2 goals in this game. Should have had probably at least 2 assists as well. And what's great? Oh, here's his goal. I imagine you saw this, but
no one else knew it went in.
it ended up going out to center.
Yeah,
the puck
that's
came
crazy.
back, imagine hitting the back of the net and it being so hard that it comes back out to center.
Goodness.
But a couple of teammates and him knew it was in. They were pointing at the ref. I know there was a video saying only he knew, but there actually were 2 of his teammates that knew that would have gone in too. But I mean, 23 years old and they put the C on him. That may have impressed me as much as anything.
That's right.
Like the under 23. There's 22, 20, there's 21, 22-year-olds, and they give the captain to the C to an 18-year-old. That just tells you all you want to know about his character, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, look at this one. How often did we see those hands last year? He's just so sweet. So he's so skilled. And just like they said, a lot of what they said in that video, the Habs scouting staff, were things that he's good defensively. He doesn't take shifts off. Oh, I wish we could wind that back. That's a funny. Is it possible to wind that back a bit? Okay, look at here. He picks up the stick, hands him his stick, and then realizes, oh, wait
wrong stick.
Yeah, yes. So then he goes back and he picks up here. This is your stick. Give me back mine.
Yeah,
and then makes a great friggin' play and almost had an assist. But the wherewithal to pick up his teammate's stick, but then, whoops, I handed him my stick. It was funny. But look at his edges, eh? Just
that's what Rockstrom, Krister Rockstrom.
Yeah,
he spoke about that. It's for defensemen. It's almost impossible to counter. Like it's a cheat code essentially.
Yeah, he goes in like the figures, like the 2. He's doing the 1/4 to 9 or whatever with his skates.
Right.
Both like 90-degree angle, comes in and you don't know. Okay, well, which way is he going to go here? There was another one of those plays that here it is. Here, look at the Duke.
Should have been an assist.
And then ying, went off a skate. But he could have had 2 or 3 assists on top of his 2 goals easily. Now, this is against a KHL team, Sochi. Mm-hmm. So tell me that he's, somebody was saying yesterday, oh, he'll play in the VHL this year. Well, no, he won't. Rottenberg they love him. They didn't love, for whatever reasons, the coaches didn't love Michkov. That's why he didn't play there. That's why he got loaned to Sochi for 2 years. But they do love, and I mean, how can you not? He plays 200-foot game. He works hard, as you just see in this, this highlight. He came back, covered his guy. He'll play in the KHL this year. And there's his goal. I still don't, they must have really slowed it down because I still can't see that it went in. And then, bing, sweet, sweet hands. But for him to score 2 goals in his first game, KHL, against KHL team, could have had 4 or 5 points. We're in the C. Easy to give him Habs prospect of the week nod for that performance.
Yeah, we didn't have to scratch our heads with this one. I mean, Jeff Gorton asked him, "Are you a franchise player?" Immediately said yes. And you know what?
Crazy.
We concur. He's got the confidence, but he knows that he can be the franchise player.
Would it be crazy for us to pass on you? Yes, it would be crazy. That was
And he's right. It would have been crazy.
Well, no, the character, you can tell in the video, he's pretty, and I saw it all last year. He's just always smiling, very happy, a lot like Slav.
Exactly.
Just very effervescent, happy kid that, hey, he's been given a good lot in life. What's there not to be happy about, right? Let's hope that some of that rubs off. Some of that youthful enthusiasm, Caulfield always smiling and Slav, and that's going to rub off on Laine. And I think he's going to fit in and enjoy it and like being a mentor. Well, these guys got to look up to me, and so I've got to, it's a new role for him, and I think he's going to embrace it. And brilliant move. I think it's just a brilliant move by the Canadians, and they got a second-round pick too. So I don't know how they did it, but kudos to Hughes for pulling that one off.
A+, 10 out of 10, however you want to put it. Great move. And this was a great show, Grant. Jam-packed, but you know what? This was a lot of fun this week. It was busy, and we're hoping it stays busy until, next July. The whole year, baby. We're going to have hockey. We're going to have stuff to talk about on this channel. So you want to subscribe. You want to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss anything. And for our listeners, that's right. If you don't know her by now, we are on Apple Podcasts. We are on Spotify. You can listen to us, but I mean, you wouldn't be able to see Grant. So I mean, YouTube is the best, right? You want the visuals as well. And we show videos too. So it's always better on YouTube. But if you don't want to, you can listen as well. Grant, thank you so much. Shout out to producer Jimmy for the great work. Thank you all for tuning in, for your support. We appreciate it. Until next time, take care.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast, Recruits Draftcast on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.